This video is a message for Ford, and the message reads as follows. Remember when you used to make cheap, exciting and durable cars?
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
And so do I, because this 2013 Ford Fiesta style with a 1.25 litre Duratec engine comes from a time when Ford just knew their customer base. From a time where there were no dishonourable Capris or bloated Mach-E's. When there was one of these, a car that you could drive with ease. From a time when just 60 ponies was enough power, because your car didn't weigh as much as the Eiffel Tower. It's cheap, it's cheerful, and it's fairly reliable. But most importantly, it encapsulates what a good car should really be about, especially a cheap car. Don't understand me? Well, today, hopefully, I can explain why. Because my name's Tom, and you are watching Paragon Cars. Let's go! Now, before we see what this supposedly underpowered Fiesta style can do on the 30 to 70 Sprint, let's just take this thing for a drive, and I'm going to give you a couple of points on why this is probably one of the best Fords ever built. So let's get into it. Number one, being a light car means that every component of this vehicle is not having to try hard to do anything. Over speed bumps, it's lovely. Turning the wheel is lovely. Everything about this car is light and easy. One thing that a lot of heavier cars seem to kind of struggle with for some reason. Number two, hill starts. Even though this is a manual car, the clutch is easy to modulate. Again, playing into the fact that everything in this car is easy. Then there's the parking. It's easy. It's a small car. You don't really need parking sensors or a reverse camera when you've got a small car. It just fits into the space. And even though this is the 3-door version of the Fiesta, so it's got longer coupe style doors, you'll always get to the first notch because it just fits in the damn space. Think 60 horsepower isn't enough to get you out of a junction. It's a manual car, so you just dump the clutch. And on that note, this thing will take heaps of abuse. Many younger people, including myself, have certainly abused a car like this before, and they just seem to keep on going. Point number... I've already lost count. Well, I've turned the traction control off, and yeah, this thing is definitely a hoot to drive. Even though it's got no turbo and no power, get the traction control off, come off the throttle, and you can still get it a little bit sideways. Oh my lord, it's so anemic. Really anemic. That is full throttle, by the way. We got there eventually. And even though it's a small car, still fairly quiet inside. Then there's the fuel economy. Remember, this thing weighs less than 1 ton, so even though it's a naturally aspirated small 5-speed powered engine, it'll do over 50 miles per gallon. See what I mean? This car is a genuinely fantastic vehicle for UK roads. Small, light, just enough power to have fun with, a lovely gearbox, and a chassis that is to die for. What about maintenance though? That's the scary bit, especially when it comes to a Ford, right? Well, needn't you worry, because this is not a 1-litre EcoBoost engine. Before we look at maintenance items though, let's do that obligatory 30 to 70 Sprint and see where this thing sits on the leaderboard. It's the lowest power car we've ever had on the channel, so hopefully it doesn't come last. So yeah, unfortunately there is only so much 60 horsepower can do, and it wasn't a lot. We did 17.13 seconds, which is unfortunately by quite a wide margin the slowest ever time we have done on our 30 to 70 leaderboard. I mean, it'll still do 70 miles an hour though. At least there's that. So yes, it is slow, but down a B road, it's still got all the power it needs. Don't believe me? Watch this. You don't need a lot of power to have fun down one of these. Steering is precise, yet somehow light. The car is light, so it deals with bumps well. You can use all the power all the time. Like, look at that. A lot of SUVs hop, skip and jump over that bump, and this car is just dealing with it. You can still get up to the national speed limit very easily. The brakes are pretty good. You can chuck it into corners. And yeah, it's dynamic. It allows you to play with the car. Before you go then, let's have a look at some things that needed to be changed in this car, and also just look at how the interior and exterior has worn over the 12 years this car has been alive. Interior first, and it actually looks pretty good to me. The dashboard, even though it's a bit dirty, remember it is a used car at the end of the day, still has nice squidgy materials on it. All these buttons still work, and they still feel pretty nice to press actually. Then the steering wheel, I mean, it's made of cheap material anyway, so it hasn't really worn, because I just don't think it can. I think the steering wheel is going to last about 3 million years. The only thing that has worn on the steering wheel are these little buttons here. But to be fair, I think that's actually just dirt. Ugh. Then looking at the floor mats, I mean, it's 12 years of use of pressing the brake pedal and the clutch pedal, so as you can see, they have worn out, but they're cheap and easy to replace. Looking at the seats, as you can see, I mean, I can't really see any permanent wear on them. There's a little bit of sag here, tiny amount, but nothing to be concerned about. And they still feel pretty plush to sit in. Then on the outside, despite the dirt, the paintwork is in pretty good nick. Tiny little scratch there. Oh, another one, tiny little one. Can we see it? Just there, very small. But the rest of the car is pretty good. Previous owner has obviously done their due diligence and not followed a lot of lorries, because there doesn't seem to be, well, any stone chips on the front of the car, which I don't quite understand, unless it's been resprayed or something, because I mean, my car's a lot less old and it's got quite a lot of stone chips. The only thing that is kind of like visually annoying to me are these hubcaps. Thankfully though, they are completely and utterly replaceable, because underneath are some steelies. Literally the only things bar regular servicing, like oil changes and filter changes, that this car has needed is a cam belt and a water pump. And that is it in 91,000 miles of driving. But you might be thinking, ooh, Tommy, that sounds quite expensive to fix. Well, thankfully you'd be wrong. This is a small engine at the end of the day, so a brand new cam belt, a brand new water pump, and all the labour costs involved in getting this car fit and ready for the road, 320 quid. I'm not gonna lie, I think that's pretty good, don't you? The Ford Capri is now an electric SUV, as is the Ford Mustang Mach-E, another electric SUV. What are you doing, Ford, honestly? The Explorer is a Volkswagen. Like, what on earth is going on? What happened to this? Why did you stop making this car, man? It's literally perfect for the UK. It fits 2 people in with their baby, or 4 people in at a pinch. It's economical, it's still quiet, it's comfortable, it has all the mod cons that you need, especially the latter Fiesta. Even this one is still pretty decent. You know, why are we being Americanized in terms of the size of our cars? Why do we need cars that are so massive? This is nicer to drive. It's easier because it's smaller. It's easier because it's lighter. All the control surfaces are physical. Ford, please. This is what people want. The amount of people I talk to, even including my hairdresser, that says she's never going to sell her Ford Fiesta for another Ford because all the new Fords are too big for her. She's scared of a large car because she's scared she's going to ding it, and she's scared that it's going to cost a lot of money to fix, because it will cost a lot of money to fix. The wheels on this are made of plastic. Simply replace them when you curb them. The wheels on the latter Ford Capri are diamond cut alloys, 20 inches, that if you curb cost a lot of money to fix. The engine is simple, fixable, it doesn't have a turbo, so there's less things to go wrong. It is just a better car on a fundamental level compared to all the latest fundamentally crap that Ford is putting out. I'm sorry, Ford, but the only good car you're pumping out at the minute is the Ford Mustang, and we don't really see that many of those in the UK. But please, just go back to your roots. Please bring this car back. And please, for the love of God, do not make it fully electric. Please do not do that. Anyway, as always, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, well, more of a rant it was today actually, but if you did enjoy it, give us a like, and why not subscribe, as not only can you see more content like this, you can see everything we have for sale. Now, I don't think this car is actually on our website for sale, but it is on Auto Trader. It was a part exchange. We had the cam belt done, and I think they did some other bits to the car as well, but it's done 92,000 miles and it still drives like a dream. Solid gear shift, nice steering that still tracks straight. I mean, this car's probably been for an alignment, to be fair, but it drives like a pretty much brand new Fiesta still. Very impressive. Anyway, as always, my name has been Tom, and you have been watching Paragon Cars. I'll see you on the next one, peeps. Cheers.